to discuss the prospects for Italy's economy, I am joined by former Under-Secretary of State for Development of the country and now Professor at the University of Nottingham, Michele Geraci. Hello, Professor. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening to you.
Now, you tweeted earlier today that you were surprised at Ursula von der Leyen's surprise that somebody could actually leave the Italian government. Now, what's going to happen? The president has not accepted Mr. Draghi's resignation. What's the next move?
This is quite standard. The next move is next week on Wednesday. Draghi will go back to the parliament and will do a last, let's say, check if he does or not have the support of all members of the parliament to continue with the current government. So Wednesday is really the, let's say, the game over. It's either a continuation of the current Draghi government, maybe with a different mix of support, because of course we have some parties like the Five Star Movement that have declared their intention not to continue to support Draghi. So he needs to find an alternative majority that makes 51% of the votes in the parliament.
Now, you were working for Mr. Conte's movement. Now, one of the reasons given for Mr. Draghi's resignation was failure to convince Mr. Conte to accept certain policies that he had put forward, which were basically to give relief for people who were struck by inflation.
It's a long list. If you recall, last year the Draghi government was formed, just succeeding the Conte government, because we had a crisis, pandemic, so it was a kind of a call for unity, and almost all parties, the Lega, the Five Star, the Democrats, all joined the government in a, let's say, an unnatural coalition. Now, over time, this unnatural coalition has, in a way, exhausted maybe the reason to exist, and each of the parties starts to think, why are we supporting a government now that maybe the pandemic, that was the original crisis situation, is kind of over or somehow under control? So each party now is relooking at their original electoral plan, and Mr. Conte has looked at what the Five Star wants, and he has realized that that's not in line with what Draghi is doing. Remember, the Five Star Movement was a little bit skeptical on the EU, not exiting, but just to have a more, skeptical approach to, for example, infrastructure development, more green, less investment, and Draghi now is saying we need to have coal, and so that's maybe why Mr. Conte is saying, well, maybe that's enough, and they don't need them anymore.
Okay, now the debt issue, we raised this in our piece before you came on, $2.5 trillion, with the prospect that interest rates will be going up quite shortly. Is there a threat to, a serious threat that this could tip over the apple cart here for Italy?
No, I don't think so. We don't know, of course, if interest rates will go up more. Let's remember, they've gone up a lot, including the spread against the German Bund, also during the Draghi government. So over the last 18 months, Italy has performed worse than all the other peers. So that's not a problem because we changed government. It's been a problem of the current government. Now, even if the interest rate were to go up, let's remember, yes, Italy has a high level of debt, but not all of it needs to be refinanced now. Average maturity of the debt is about 7 years. So even if the interest rates go up, the cost that Italy will have to pay for the next 6 months, end of the year, is going to be a little bit higher, but in no way a threat to the stability of the financial system. Of course, if things go on for the next 5-10 years, that's a problem. But in the short term, any value of interest rate almost does not make a big difference to the level of the structural solidity of the public finances.
So you don't see that the threat that markets are seeing for Italy at the moment?
What do they see? I think in your piece you talked about bankruptcy. Of course, that's a little bit not on the table. Markets, remember, are driven also by the action of the European Central Bank. The European Central Bank is the biggest player in the market. So I think it's clear to your audience that there is a bit of a financial fundamentals at play, but also a lot of politics, because if the European Central Bank intervenes and purchases Italian bonds like he has done for many countries, then interest rate will go down. If they don't, it will be maybe a political decision, and that's a little bit dangerous because it could be perceived as an interference of the European Central Bank into the domestic affairs of Italian politics, and that should not really be the case.
Now, we've got a war at the moment, and there are quite severe sanctions put on Russia, which are beginning to have some effect. Some car manufacturer there is down 97%, for example. Gas production down 30%. There are some countries which are, particularly Poland, where we're sitting here, which are ever more keen on more sanctions on Russia. The situation in Italy is that certainly there's been support for Ukraine, but at the moment, how will things change, do you think, with this, shall we say, issue of political instability? Could it change the policies of Italy as regards for sanctions?
I tell you something. Since you're in Poland, you're closer to Ukraine, so you feel the situation more than us. I want to assure you and your Polish audience that Italy is working hard to broker peace. With regards to sanctions, I think there is a big misunderstanding. The current sanctions that we all would love them to work are not working, are actually financing the war, because it is also because the European Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen threatens sanctions on gas, on oil, that keeps the price of those commodities high. We keep on purchasing the same quantities, and therefore we have seen the balance of payment of Russia skyrocketing to record high $150 billion in the first 6 months. So I want to give you a word of a warning. We should not do sanctions just because we feel we need to feel good that we are doing something, because the sanctions that we are doing, the 6 packages of EU sanctions, are really not working at all. It is not really.
I gave you 2 examples of things that are happening, and of course, when it comes to getting financing again, refinancing for Russia will not be all that easy. You can't say it's not working altogether. Of course, there's no peace yet.
But remember, the goal of the sanctions is not to block Russia from financing itself, or even to decrease the car sales, or people in Russia not buying McDonald's. The purpose of the sanction is
but
to
no chips.
Peace. No peace, no chips. I don't know, but maybe it's healthier. But without, even let's be optimistic. 10% drop in the Russian economy, caused by a mix of things. This will not bring peace. Putin will not stop because the economy is weak.
Okay.
I need to suffered in the COVID.
Need to finish there.
At peace.
But thank you very much, Professor, for your opinions there on that. That was great to hear that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dziękuję bardzo.